When we think, is it time to rebrand? Is it time to refresh ourselves? You know, even if it's a new company and you haven't existed for quite some time, it is okay to rebrand early on, or even if you're later in the game. Like, there's never a right or wrong time to rebrand. Now, the reason why we compare rebranding to dating, because it is almost as if your brand, the product, or the service is a person. So the way that they are perceived, the way that they resonate with an audience, the way that the values that they uphold, that is the same way a person would approach dating, or the way that as humans we cultivate the dating culture. So that is the reason why a lot of times people think that rebranding has to be this super serious and like uncomfortable thing, and it doesn't. It's almost as if you're doing like the inner work on yourself, but you are doing it from the position of being the brand in the company. So what does that look like? What does it feel like? How do I find my target audience? How am I going to resonate with my target audience? So all of those same things are as if I'm looking for a guy or I'm looking for a girl. It's like, okay, how am I going to attract the person that I want? How am I going to make sure that we're in it for the long game instead of something short term, if that's what we're looking for, if that's what we identify as our value to be? How am I going to make sure that they're also in it for the long run? So the same way that we approach dating is the same way we kind of have to approach rebranding and pushing our brand to the market, because your audience is the partner that you're seeking. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Cheyenne, also known as Cheyenne the Blogger, and I cover places to eat and things to do. And I'm so happy to have you guys for Palates and Perspectives, where we sit on the dinner table and we just have dinner conversations. Today we're actually having like a little midday snack. I have muffin as well as some orange juice. Today's topic is the power of rebranding and why rebranding is literally like getting back into the dating pool. Now, when I think of rebranding or marketing, there are three things that come to mind, especially when we're talking about branding, and that is self-assessment, values, as well as appearance. When it comes to that first pillar, self-assessment, the one thing that I truly like to let everyone know, or just sort of my advice on it, is that it's never too late to rebrand. It doesn't matter how far along in your journey you are. It doesn't matter if you just started, if you just did a rebrand. You can rebrand and rebrand and rebrand as much as you like until you get to a space that feels like it fits you. So when it comes to self-assessment, you really want to identify who you want your brand to be, who do you want to be, and it's best if that identity mirrors your own identity, because it's easy to stand behind something when the values are something that aligns with you, of who you are in real life, but then also if the brand is a reflection of what you love to do or what makes you unique in the world, because it's easy for you to come up with more content ideas. It's easy for you to pitch unique ways to bring this service or this product to your industry. So if we look at rebranding in the sense of getting back into the dating pool, self-assessment is usually kind of the first step once you get back into the dating world, because you're trying to kind of redefine what you want in a partner and what you're looking to achieve. If you're in a place of your life where it's like, I'm having a good time, or if you're in a place in your life where you're looking like, I want to settle down, I kind of want to get more serious. So the same way with your brand, that self-assessment is just identifying who you are and what sort of those short-term and long-term goals are. So that way the path that you begin to create, it aligns with where you're going and what the end result you want for your brand to be. So once you've done your self-assessment and you have identified your brand identity, you can then move on to values. So now with values, it does get a little bit hard in the sense of being like an entrepreneur or an influencer, because a lot of times you want to go where the money is, because we got to pay our bills. So sometimes you may want to take a partnership, or you may want to take a collaboration because it's paid and you need the money. But sometimes you really have to look at the bigger picture, and it's hard. Trust me, it is very, very, very hard. But sometimes you have to look at the bigger picture, and you have to kind of determine how this helps me in the long run, and if it really aligns with my brand's identity, who I want to be in the industry, what direction I want to go in, and if it also mirrors the brands look and feel. Because if you're a brand that is creating like fun fashion content, or you're doing beauty content, and then maybe someone wants to reach out to you because they want you to do something about home improvement, that may not mirror what your brand's identity is. So it's like you may not want to take the collaboration because, one, you don't want to throw off your audience and your engagement, but then also two, you don't want it to be where you start to waver so far from the brand's identity or the path that you're on that you eventually kind of lose yourself, because you're headed left and you're headed right and you're kind of getting off of the path that you were set to create. And that's what's going to always separate you from your competition and make sure that you ultimately become the successful version of yourself that you need to be, especially when you're in a place where obviously a lot of industries are very competitive or oversaturated. Now, with values, we also can compare it again to dating, because usually when you date someone, you will maybe not on the first date or the second date, but after a while, you're going to compare each other's values of what's important to you. If you're family oriented, if you're someone that's spontaneous, if you like adventure, like all of those things matter in dating, which when you are rebranding or you are redefining your company, you also want to look at the values of your brand. So what is important to your brand? What is your non-negotiables? What are things that, okay, I don't want to work with a brand or a company or a partnership that doesn't support this, or I don't want to work with any other influencers or collabs that do not make social media fun or that are too serious. Like, you know what your values are for your company and for your brand. So you want to make sure that when you are scouting out and you're figuring out what those values are, it's better for upfront for you to kind of maybe write down those non-negotiables, create a media kit that defines, the missions and the statements of the company. So that way, even if you need a reminder for yourself and you're trying to decide if I want to move forward with a brand or not, or if I want to collaborate, it's literally like dating. You and the brand have to align. They have to mesh. It has to work. So the same way that you would compare values for a partner, is the same way you want to compare values when you are looking for partnerships and collaborations. It's that third and last pillar is the way that your brand is going to be perceived from the public. How are you going to show up in this world? So you want it to be one of those things where when people look at the brand, what comes to mind? Is it funky? Is it fun? Is it colorful? Or is it more clean, a modern, a very classic aesthetic? Because that's the thing. For you to be able to attract a certain audience, you want the audience to sort of be able to relate to the brand's identity. And that all comes with the appearance. So if you are a content creator or an influencer per se, you want it to be where maybe your content and your editing style is very funky. You have very unique transitions. Or if you're someone that's more of like a luxury high-end girl with your content, you want it to be a very clean aesthetic. Maybe it's smooth transitions. Maybe it's, higher exposure. Maybe it's a deeper contrast. So whatever that appearance is that you are looking to achieve with your audience, you want to make sure that you're consistent with it. And every time someone sees your videos, they know your style of content and they know what to expect. But then also too, you're resonating with those luxury girlies, or you're resonating with those funky and fun creatives. Just being sure that every piece of content aligns with the brand's identity. Now, when we think of appearance, especially with dating, we're going to come with a new wardrobe. We're going to make sure the hair's done, the nails are done, brand new perfume. We want to show up as the best version of ourselves. Why? Because when you're dating, you want that first impression with that person to be like, okay, I'm ready for another date. You know what I mean? So when you're thinking about the appearance for your brand and your company, it's the same way. Every time a new follower or a new pool of audience comes across your content or your product or your service, you want them to feel like, I want to be a part of that. I want to be either part of the movement. I want to try it out. That fits me. It mirrors me. And that's exactly what that is. When your appearance is very clear and it aligns with the content that you're creating or the product or the service, it allows your audience to want to continuously date you. They want to follow you. They want to keep up because now they see like, okay, this is my person. This is someone that I feel like I connect with, and either the product or the service as well if you're not a creator and you're an entrepreneur. And it's perfect because you get to define what that looks like. Like, everything is totally up to you. And that's the fun in all of it, especially if you're someone that is passionate about the work that you're doing. You get to decide how you're going to show up, what you're going to look like, and how that's going to be understood by the audience or the pool of people that you are targeting. It was so much fun talking about rebranding and how it's basically like getting back into the dating pool. I'm so happy to have you guys at my dinner table for a quick light snack. If you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up. Be sure to comment your favorite part. What are your thoughts on rebranding? How do you rebrand? Of course, subscribe, and I can't wait to have you guys again for more dinner conversations on Palates and Perspectives. Of course, cheers to a good experience and follow for more reviews.